Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video today, we're going to be talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' keys to victory in their wild card round playoff matchup versus the Washington football team. This is some of the things that the Buccaneers can do to give themselves a better chance of winning their wild card round matchup. So, with that being said, let's not waste any time. Let's get started talking about the first point that I want to make, which is going to be stopping the good pass rush that the Washington football team has. I don't think that it is any secret, and I've already talked about it in a couple of videos already this week. The Washington football team has a pretty good defense, and it is led by a very stout defensive line, which is again led by team captain Chase Young. Now, I've seen some people say that Chase Young's overhyped and that the Washington defense isn't as good as people think it is. I still think it is a pretty darn good defense, and I think priority number one should be to protect Tom Brady at all costs, especially in playoff football, because as you know, a lot of you guys have been pointing out to me in the comments section, playoff football, Tom Brady is a different beast entirely, and if he is protected, again, he can carve up any defense in the entire NFL. So, with that being said, let's protect Tom Brady. Yes, it is going to be a very tough challenge versus a good defensive line, but fingers crossed the offensive line is able to hold their own, do their job, and protect Tom Brady. And I don't think it's crazy to say that, yes, Tom Brady may get sacked one or two times in this game. He may get hit a few times in this game as well. But overall, if they're able to give Tom Brady enough time in key situations for him to find the right guy against this Washington defense, then things will definitely end up in the Buccaneers' favor. The next point that I want to make is going to be get the lead early and keep pressure. Fun fact, guys. The Washington football team has scored over 20 points in 6 out of their 16 regular season games. So 6 out of 16, they've managed to get over 20 points total as a team. The Buccaneers did that in 14 out of their 16 games throughout the regular season. And I've even seen some people, including some of my close personal friends, thank you to Logan, is that if the Buccaneers really score, I want to say at least 24 or more points, they'll probably win this game, considering the Washington football team's offense has not been the best at getting yards, getting points, and just overall being an efficient offense. Now, things could change going into the playoffs, and I'm not going to say anything in terms of, what will or will not happen or things like that, but if recent evidence is to be analyzed and things like that, the Buccaneers offense has been playing at an insanely high level going into round one of the playoffs. The Washington football team's offense has struggled a pretty fair amount. So if the Buccaneers are able to get out of the gates hot, get a few touchdowns up on the board, let's say they get 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first half, I think it's safe to say that they may have a pretty darn good chance of winning this football game, as Washington has just had a really tough time moving the football as of late. So what I mean by this is, yes, get the lead early, and of course you can say that for anything, but in terms of getting the lead early and then making sure you do not let up, you just keep on going out there trying to score as much as possible. The defense is doing their job as well. What I would love to see is some long, sustainable drives if the Buccaneers do get an early lead. Like 13, 14 play, well, maybe not 13 or 14 play drives, but, 8, 9, 10 play drives, things like that. Wear down the clock, wear down this Washington defense, and make that Washington offense really have to work for their yards and their points. That is a very large key to winning this football game, is getting hot out of the gates early, which the Buccaneers have very thankfully been able to do the past couple of games. The next point that I'm going to be talking about is going to be run Ronald Jones more. And I've been pounding, the drum all season, talking about they need to give Ronald Jones the ball more. They need to give Ronald Jones the ball more. Well, I talked about this Washington defense a lot, and their pass rush is good. Their secondary is very good. Again, they still have one of the best secondaries in the league, in my opinion. They still have a very solid defensive line in terms of sack numbers and things like that. The only flaw, at least statistically speaking, is they have a above average still but slightly above average run defense. And given the way that Ronald Jones has been running throughout this year, just making the absolute most of his opportunities, every time he touches the football, at least as a runner, sometimes as a receiver he has struggled, but every time he gets the ball handed off to him, it seems like he's doing something positive with the ball in his hands. And we saw that as recently as last week versus the Atlanta Falcons, where he really should have gotten that 1,000-yard rushing milestone. Unfortunately, was not the case. They did not give him the ball enough, unfortunately. But still, with that being said, Ronald Jones can do it. He is that dude. He is a starting running back, and he's a pretty darn good starting running back. So, take advantage of that slight flaw that is in that Washington defense. Run the ball a little bit. I would like to see the ball ran at least 20 times with Ronald Jones, or at least 15, I want to say 15 to 20 times, and I'm happy with that if Ronald Jones is able to get that many runs in a game, or touches in general. So, overall, let's see how Ronald Jones does, and let's see if the Buccaneers are able to take a slight advantage of a very slight weakness that Washington football team's defense has. The second to last point that I want to make here, guys, is a pretty basic one. Let Brady be Brady, and I think this is the time to do it. You don't have to do anything crazy, like get stubborn with your offensive play calling and get cute with, rotating in certain guys or cute play calling, all these different types of things. This is the time when you just let Tom Brady be Tom Brady. And I've seen people clamor for it throughout the season, and while I have agreed with some parts of it, I haven't agreed with other parts of it. This point in particular, I would agree by saying, yes, the coaching staff should call plays to Brady's strength, which they've been doing in the past couple of weeks, and it seems like it's been working with play action and short passes and all these other different types of things. It has been working very well the past couple of weeks, so keep that up. Let Tom Brady be Tom Brady. Let him take the play action shots and these, different types of things that he likes to do. Don't try and force Tom Brady to do stuff that he doesn't want to do or he might not be the best at doing. Just let him do what is his bread and butter, and yeah, you're darn sure that'll give you a better chance of winning a playoff football game, because playoff football Tom Brady is a pretty amazing thing. But with that being said, guys, we are going to get back to the last point that I want to make here in this video, which is going to be take away the limited offensive weapons of the Washington football team. Now, I talked about this in recent videos, and I don't think it's a secret. The Washington football team doesn't have a ton of solid weapons on the offensive side of the football. Their offensive line is rough, I think. Ever since they traded away Trent Williams, they're still looking for some guys who can fill in some of those spots along that offensive line. Alex Smith, while he has a phenomenal story, and I think he can do good in this game, has still struggled at times getting back, getting his legs under him, so to speak, in terms of, getting back into the old Alex Smith that we saw before that injury. In the running back group, Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissic are good, and I think that they are very solid both as runners and as receiving threats, but they are going up against the best run defense in the NFL. I could see them struggling a little bit. And then aside from that, you have Logan Thomas at tight end, who just really kind of emerged throughout the second half of the season. And then you have Terry McLaurin, who is a great wide receiver, by the way, a 1,000-yard wide receiver. He's awesome, and I think he could be a number one on a lot of NFL teams. But after that, they simply have a lack of weapons in terms of the overall offensive firepower, and that's 100% something the Buccaneers should take advantage of. If they don't have to worry as much about covering certain guys, which, of course they have to cover guys, but if they can send blitzes more often than they usually, they blitz a lot, right? The Buccaneers do blitz a lot. But there are times when the Buccaneers can't blitz as much because they have to respect the offensive weapons that a team has. If this is an opportunity where they do have the ability to blitz more, Todd Bowles is going to take those opportunities to put a lot of pressure on Alex Smith, especially given this offensive line. That is how you take advantage, is you can leave guys one-on-one with their people, and you can just start blitzing people. Antoine Winfield Jr., go ahead and send him. Maybe Devin White or maybe not Devin White, but Levante David, Kevin Minter, go ahead and send him. Shaq, Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, go ahead and send him. Just send all the guys, put pressure on Alex Smith, force him to make some bad decisions, and overall just work with that, right? Take away the limited weapons, and that offense could be pretty darn stagnant pretty quickly if the Washington football team is not careful about how they use their weapons and get creative with how certain things would be going. So, as I said, they are pretty limited in the weapons category on offense, and that is something hopefully the Buccaneers would be able to take to their advantage on defense, maybe send some more blitzes, and just kind of trust some of the guys that they have on the back end of that defense and just see what ends up happening. But guys, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Let me know your thoughts about all the points that I made down in the comment section below, and what are some other ways that you feel the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could potentially win this game? Leave me your thoughts. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.